Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jody. My husband David John and I have a small farm in the panhandle of North Idaho. These are stories and adventures, so welcome to Moose Flats Farm. And today we're out in the greenhouse. We're going to be, because the greenhouse is shelf planting, so it's got to be container planting. Can't plant directly in the ground in here. So today we're going to take these fabulous orange Home Depot buckets and transplant a bunch of tomatoes into them for hopefully longer growing season, because they shouldn't get frosted out in here. And typically I would be planting in this kind of container, but right now with the price of what plastics are, that container is $25-ish, where this is $5. So was able to stretch the budget a little further by using these guys. And those ones, yeah, I could get 3 tomatoes in, but still not as cost effective as the good old-fashioned 5-gallon bucket. So, because they are 5-gallon buckets and they do have the drowning hazard on them, we are going to need to drill some holes in these so they will drain. So let's start there. I'm going to do 3 holes in the bottom, and then I like doing 1 on the side just as a visual, so when I'm watering I know I've gotten the water all the way through because I can see it coming out of the side hole. So like I said, we're going to drill 3, and I just do a triangle pattern. It's a little aggressive. And because I want the drain hole to be out on my side, I'm doing this towards the back, since I don't need to see the warning label anymore. So there, we've got our 4 holes in the buckets. So in this first one, we're going to be planting 2 beefsteak tomatoes. Yeah. And I have gone through and cleaned up all of the leaves, I believe, far enough up. So we're going to start off with just a scoop of soil down in the bottom, and then we'll take our tomato, kind of just gently dig them in a little tiny bit. Oh, you guys forgot to remind me about the eggs. Okay, so let's pop these guys out and put the 2 eggs in there. Because even though they're going to be planted in potting mix, this will just give them that little extra bit of calcium. Plus, you get a satisfying crunch. And then we'll just gently fill it up. And then just kind of just press the potting mix down so we don't get as much settling when it comes time to water them in. And I'm filling this till it's about an inch from the top, just so that way I've got that lip to hold the water in when I go to water them. So that's the first one planted. Let's do the second one. I do have something interesting to show you on the second set that I'm going to do. So as you can see on this tomato, it's got a sucker growth that's growing here, and then this is its top. Its top looks absolutely horrible, but that sucker looks nice and lovely. And because these are indeterminate tomatoes, you don't usually want to cut the tops out of them, but if you do, make sure you have a backup with a sucker. So I'm just going to remove the icky looking top, and now this is going to be my main plant. And don't forget to label your pots so you know what you're growing. So in all of these pots except for one, I'm going to be planting 2 tomatoes. I'm not sure if it's going to be too much tomato for the pots, but I'm going to do experiment one because I have several of the doubled up beefsteaks. So I'm going to do a single beefsteak in this pot, and that will answer the question whether 2 is too many. So get this guy planted and get the rest of them planted and be back with you guys to show you what it looks like when I'm all done. So, in case you're new to my channel and you're going, why is she burying her tomato plant so deep? Fun fact about tomatoes is they've got hairs and nodules all along their stem that because they're natural ground sprawlers, anywhere that comes into contact with the soil, it will grow roots. So that's why I plant my tomatoes really deep, is That way they get a really good healthy rootstock, as opposed to a rootstock that's only that tall, deep. It'll have a rootstock that long. And the reason I add the eggs to them is because to help prevent blossom end rot, calcium is a really good amend for that, and the eggs give them a slow release calcium intake. And that's one of the luxuries of living on a poultry farm, is I always have plenty of eggs when it's time to plant my tomatoes. So let's get back to getting these planted. So we got all the tomatoes planted, and I don't mind if my tomatoes are a little on the leggy side, just because I do plant them deep. Some of them are extremely leggy, but we're going to be using the shelving to start working on tying them up, because it's like these guys are really leggy and can get clipped up, but they will eventually. I have this string system up here that they get attached to as they get taller, but they're all in and draining good. And the peas in here are just covered in blossoms and starting to give me garden snacks. So another container that we like to use in here is the mud tubs. You can find them at any local home improvement store. They're going to be back where your sheetrock material is. They have the two different sizes, the big one that the peas are in, and then a little shallower one that is going to be good for planting herbs, radishes. The little bulb carrots would be great in this. Anything that's going to be relatively shallow rooted. So I'm going to plant, because I've got two of these, and the one thing nice about these is they last for years. I think these two are 5-6 years old, so they do last for a very, very long time. And they've already have the drain holes in them, so we're going to be planting the stevia in one, and I am going to go through and top the stevia after I get it planted, just hopefully to make it a little bushier. Plus I can start trying to get some of the saved to dry. And then we're going to be planting the other one with some of the basil. So let's get these guys filled and get the herbs put in. Some of these are got a little dried out, but hopefully they'll bounce back. Okay, now I just placed them in here so I can have a spot marked for them. Probably don't need all the tags to tell me what's in here. And as opposed to the tomatoes where I really didn't tease the roots, I am going to tease them on these guys just a little. Okay, that gets the stevia planted. Let's give it a haircut. Where did I put the seeds? Because the stevia, just like the pepper plants when we prune them, they will naturally at every leaf joint. When you prune them, they will bush out from there and just make a bushier plant. Plus, I have a start to dried stevia. So let's get the herb pot planted. So in this container, I'm just going to do the blue spice basil and the Thai basil. I'm going to get them planted and then give them a little bit of a haircut also. So there's the stevia and the 2 basils planted and watered in. And I did on a whim the other day the science experiment tomato. I'm continuing that experiment. So let's go down to the house and I'll show you where I planted it and what my thoughts are for why I did what I did. Actually, before we do that, let's go over and I want to show you this. My big grape that actually was the deciding factor on how wide the chicken coop and shop or workshop were going to be, because I'd gotten it planted and established and then we decided to put the chicken coop in, or the chicken coop would have been about 2 feet wider, which meant would have more space on my side of the coop, but I didn't want to disturb the grape. And that shows you why. And it is absolutely loaded with grapes this year. Everywhere you look, you've got grapes coming on it. Which has me really excited. Just have to remember to pump the water to it so the grapes are nice and juicy. So down here in the bed that has the forsythia for over at my father-in-law's, there was space at the end here that I planted that Sweet 100 experiment plant. And I am kind of gonna let it go wild-ish. I do have a little fence for it climbing over because I still have to mow the lawn out here, and I have a little barrier on the one side just to keep it so I can mow the lawn. But it was basically, I just put the whole tray, because it was all roots, flat down right there, and that's a sucker growth coming off it. Got another sucker growth here, some icky looking leaves that I may or may not take off, some more sucker growth there, and you see it continue up here. So I don't know how wild and crazy it's gonna get, but it's our little experiment plant, and it's far enough away over here that if it does start to struggle and have some issues like blight or something along that line, because I'm gonna let it kind of go wild, which it looks like it's got a little issue anyways. But I think part of that was in the greenhouse, it was getting too much water on the leaves, or the leaves were just laying in water. But it's far enough away that it won't transfer to any of my other tomatoes, and the fact that I'll probably never plant tomatoes here, so I don't have to worry about introducing something icky to this area of the garden that's going to affect tomatoes. So let's go down to the house and let me show you a project David John's been working on for Kiesel, and in a roundabout way for us and the houseplants. So over here, when I was at work the other day, well, we actually got this much bigger doggy door for Kiesel. So, because he was having some issues coming in and out of the old little one. But in the process of that, we had to remove the old window and get it prepped and ready for a new window to come in. He started this early just so that, because it will just take him a couple minutes to put the window in. But there's the new window for there, which it's nice because it's got a slider so it will still let air in, and Kiesel can come out nice and easy. Kiesel! There you see, he came out nice and easy. But the other window that was there, and this is the exciting part for me and the house plants, we are actually going to be reusing it. Let me show you where. So as you see behind the ladders, he's got a hole cut out there, and that is on the lean-to part. So basically you look straight through into where the lemon is. That is just going to let so much natural light in, especially in the winter, but it will be really nice because in the summer, because that's our air conditioner window that's going to be going in there. So the air conditioner will be mounted there, so it won't be shooting hot air down onto the breezeway there in front of the house, and we won't have the noise of the air conditioner right there at the front of the house. So take you inside and show you where it's going to be, so no confusion. But yeah, normally the air conditioner is mounted right there, so it's just blowing all that hot air out here and onto the deck, because the lanai cover really holds in that heat. And when you're sitting out there in the summer, you don't want to be listening to an air conditioner scream at you. But so you have our lime tree, and this is the wall that's going to get cut out and have the window put in it. There's an inside view of Kiesel's doggy door. Just need to get that window put in and all the trim put in and have to go through and repaint and stain, and you won't even know that there was a window switch. Well, this is where I'm going to end today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll be back with you for the next adventure. Talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.